This video is sponsored by Betterhelp. Is there something bothering you, preventing you from achieving your goals? When I got out of prison, I felt that way. Betterhelp will match you with a professional and help you with your specific situation. You can log in to your account and send messages to your therapist. You'll get a timely response and schedule all of your appointments. You could change your therapist at any time, and it's very affordable. They even have financial aid. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life as of today. Go to betterhelp.com/Sammy and join over 2 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. I got you 10% off of the first month. Go to betterhelp.com/Sammy. And it's help, not health. HELP. Adios.
For the first time ever, Sammy the Bull Gravano tells his story. This is our thing. Directed by James Carroll.
I'm going to talk a little bit right now about the Raven Nightclub. The Raven Nightclub went back years and years ago. It was Neil O'Neill, the underboss of Carlo Gambino, and then he became the underboss to Paul Castellano. It was his club. There was a guy, Joe the Cat, made guy, he owned that building. That was always his club. And there was a lot of meetings down there and stuff. After Neil died and Castellano was killed, John more or less took over the club. So that was the Raven Nightclub. It was on Mulberry Street, right in Little Italy. A couple of blocks up, they used to do the feast, the Little Italy feast all the time. And years ago on the Neil, it was a big plate glass window in the front. Later on, it was taken off and it was bricked up, a small little window with all brick. When you went inside, there was a nice long counter, had a coffee espresso machine, stuff like that. This is where the guy Norman stood and served coffee and whatever you wanted. On the right-hand side, there were small little tables, chairs on both sides. Guys would play pinochle, they would play gin, rummy, or just sit there and bullshit a little bit. When you got towards the back, there was an archway. Inside the archway, there was a round table that sat about 4 people, sometimes 5. John sat in the middle. I sat on his left normally. Someone else sat on his right side. And the people we were talking to, or he was talking to, was directly across from him. And on both sides, there was another couple of chairs. So it was a total of like 5 chairs. The guy on the right, sometimes it was Frankie LaCasio. Sometimes Frankie wasn't even there, or he was sitting on the chair, this leather chair that was on the side. There was a payphone on the wall, but it never worked. It was completely shut off. It was a dummy. Right up on top of this leather chair, there was a TV hanging in the back. And John Gotti had a picture of himself, I think, and he had the article of Times and stuff, and hanging in there. It wasn't a new club. Like I said, it was Neil's club. It was there for years. Just that Neil died, Castellano died, and John took the club over. So it wasn't a new club. It was there for years and years and years. Above the club is that famous apartment where a maid guy lived in that apartment. His wife, an old woman, lived there too. When he died, that's where the meetings took place, where John got caught on tape. There was another door on the side. You walked into a whole staircase going up to the apartments above the building. This wasn't a movie set. This was a real club. It was fairly light. There was fluorescent lights, no mood lighting to it, nothing like that. You can order coffee, espresso, regular coffee. There was no food. I mean, we could order food from a restaurant. They would bring it down to us if we wanted it. But there generally, we would go out to dinner. So there was no food. There was no drinks. We didn't drink in there. I guess you could have had a drink. Like there was no wine. I never had a glass of wine there. I don't even think I had a drink. The only thing I drank in there was espresso and would take anisette or Zambuca and put it in the coffee. So that's all I recall in the club. It's just a regular bullshit club. I went to that club to meet Neil a couple of times with Tato. Those are the first times I went into it, basically. After Paul was killed and John took over, I must have been in that club every single day, 5 days a week, every week from when we took over to when we went in prison, unless I was on the lam. But if I was home, there'd have to be maybe a special occasion, but I was there all the time. So 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year, 3-4 years, I was in there quite a few times, a couple of 100 times. And I got pinched there when we got pinched. So I'm gonna give you a little example how Gotti did not get along with the Luchesse family, especially Gas Pipe, who was the underboss, and Vic Amuso, who was the boss. There was a problem that John became infuriated with. He knew a legitimate person at a house, I think in Long Island or Queens or some fucking where. There was 2 legitimate families, and they had a fence supposedly supposed to go down the middle. It was on one guy's side more than the others. It crossed the line, and they fought about it. One of the people knew Gas Pipe, those legitimate people knew Gas Pipe, and one of them knew John Gotti. And John Gotti couldn't get this straightened out. They wouldn't do him a favor. So he was furiated. He says, Sammy, get your fucking friend Gas Pipe and straighten this fucking thing out. All right. It's calling him my friend because he couldn't get anything done from Gas Pipe and the Luchesse people. They hated him with a passion. So when I went down and I sat with, I wasn't the underboss, I believe I was a consigliere and so was Gas Pipe. We sat down over this fence and he didn't want to budge. I said, bro, look at the level that this is on. We got so many things to talk about, to straighten out, to do. We got 2 fucking dumbbells, legitimate people arguing over a fucking fence. And it's on our level. Let's get this done and out of the way. I know how you feel, bro. But we got to straighten it out, me and you. Forget about everybody else. It's in my lap and your lap. We got construction people. If we have to, let's go there, rip the fucking fence down, tell a contractor to rip the fence down, put it exactly where it's supposed to be so they're not arguing, and we'll pay for it. $1,500, $2,000, we'll pay $1,000 each. I'll pay $1,000 out of my pocket. I won't even go back to him for the money. And you feel that strong about it? I don't feel that strong about it. I feel that I want to get this off the table, bro. This is stupid. If we can't stop these people, then we'll straighten the problem out legally, and then they got to stop. And that's what we did. And he was happy it stopped. I didn't take it off the top of anything. I think that I took it out of my pocket. I think I gave them $1,000. They put up $1,000. It was their contract, I think it was, and we got it solved. So, and that the importance of this whole thing is not the fence, not the people, is how Gotti couldn't get something done from them. They hated him. And Gas Pipe got shot a long time ago, and it came from people in our family. Came from Angelo. He was convinced that John was behind it as well. And that's one of the reasons he couldn't stand him. And he was extremely close to Chin. Later on, we find out that it was Chin and them, Gas Pipe, the Luchesses, who killed Frankie the Chico. It's a whole nother story. I'll talk about it later. Towards the end, I believe it's 1989, an order comes down to hit Eddie Garofalo. They used to call him the Chink. It was my brother-in-law, Eddie Garofalo's first cousin. They had the same exact name. Let me give you a little history of the Eddie Garofalo who's going to get hit. He's a swindler. He's a guy involved in every fucked up deal in the world. This is how I got the farm. He swindled the farm from somebody and had it. One day I went to Paul Castellano, and Paul Castellano is ripping mad. He said, this fucking Eddie Garofalo owes me money, back payments, back juice. He owes me a ton of money. He tell me he ain't got it. He comes up here, this fucking punk, with a fucking Rolls Royce. He's fuming. So I said, well, I mean, I don't know how he got the Rolls Royce or whatever, but boy, I understand what you're saying. I'll go down, I'll talk with him. Now, I'm a Bay guy. My brother-in-law's with me. He's with me. I'm eating all this bullshit. So I go to him and I said, Eddie, you owe a ton of money. He was fucking fuming. You go up there with a fucking Rolls Royce, bro, and then you have the balls to tell him you ain't got the money? He said, Sammy, I'm fucking broke. Then go up with a fucking Volkswagen or something. You're gonna pull up with a Rolls Royce? That's when he tells me he owns this farm. I know about the farm that he owned, a little bit. He wants to sell it. He's asking me to help him out. I said, what do you want for the farm? I'll work a deal with you, Sammy. Give me $60,000 in cash. I got a $60,000 reversible mortgage. I could give you the mortgage. Straighten out the bill with Paul. I think he owes Paul $60,000 and back juice. So I says, all right, let me think about it. It's perfect for me. I go to Paul and I tell him I'm making the deal to buy his farm. He's that broke. He's got the car, but he's broke. This guy had money, lost money, he's broke. He's got the car, he still walks around, acts like a big shot, but he's broke. He owes everybody money. Paul tells me, well, what are you going to do? Paul, he owes you $60,000. He owes $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 in juice. I'll pay those two things. I'll take over the mortgage. And I'll give him a few dollars for his pocket. I don't want to tell him how much. He says, okay, let me know when you do it. I get a lawyer that I have in Brooklyn, and the lawyer makes the deal. He lets me keep the furniture and the equipment. Everything is used and beat up. It's a farm. Nothing tremendous, but I get everything. I give him the $60,000 cash under the table. I take over the mortgage. I go to Paul. I give him $60,000, and I'm going to give him the $15,000. I want the exact amount. And he said, here's what I'm going to do with you. He said, the juice, it's now you owing it to me because you're buying this farm and you're solving my problem. You're even with the juice. That's a house gift from me to you. So it's 10, 12, 15, whatever it is, he gave me that as a house gift. I don't remember the exact number on the 60 that had to go to him. He wants me to count out another 5, 8, or 10,000. I am not sure the amount. So I made a lot of money on the loan. Take that, put that in your pocket. I appreciate what you just said. So it was beautiful. I wind up with the farm, and the farm, I told many stories about it and how great it was for me and my family. I took it over. I had it for years. I eventually lost it. But that's Eddie Garofalo. One thing after the other, one problem after the other, always, always, always. He was very, very friendly with Shorty Spiro and the Colombo family, my ex-boss. They were real close. Their wives were close. When Shorty was missing, he was dead. Jerry Papa, Petey Savino, they killed him. Eddie kind of goes to the wife, Shorty's wife, very, very beautiful woman, and kind of schmoozes her. I'm going to take care of you, pay some of her bills, does this, does that, starts having an affair with her. The Colombo people come out of the woodwork. They want to kill him. His wife finds out about this whole thing. He's going to leave his wife. There's a problem in the family. There's a problem with every fucking thing. Here he goes again. So John talks to me, and I believe it was John at the time. But they talked to me. You're going to sit down for him? Yes, I'm going to sit down for him. I mean, Shorty's gone. We know he's gone. You guys know he's gone. You know where he is. He's gone. And I mean, you may not know where he is, but he's gone. This kid is a street kid a little bit. He's not a kid, but. So they said, Sammy, he always must have had eyes for this fucking woman. Soon as he found out Shorty was missing, he made a move on her. So he always had that in the back of his fucking mind. That's why we want to kill him. In the sit down, I said, bro, we're going to research a guy's mind, what he thought 2-3 months before the guy's missing. That's a little crazy. Inwardly, I knew they were actually telling the truth. I believed it. He's my brother-in-law's cousin. So I'm going to defend it. I'm going to try to stop the hit. I'm successful. The Colombos are not happy with it. And they loved Shorty. And I understand where they were coming from. But I stopped the hit. It didn't happen. he gets involved in 2 or 3 more fucking deals. One place that Gargiulio's, he's running a tab. He owes them $10,000, $15,000. I'll pay you tomorrow, I'll pay you next week, I'll pay you next Wednesday. They never get paid. He keeps running up his tab. By the time it blows up, it's over $20,000. They run to people and there's a beef about it. He knows they're with us and he's just swindling the guy. Another sit down. I don't win this sit down. What I do is I say that I'll force him to make payments and pay this off. Tell your guy not to give him no more credit. Another beef comes up. Something with a job and the unions, he beats a union. John Gotti says, enough is enough. Kill this fucking bum.
Our Thing with Sammy the Bull Gravano is produced by Deborah's Way Productions. Audio and photography provided by Richard Miller. Associate producer, Kenna Zaza Gabor. Thank you for listening to Our Thing with Sammy the Bull Gravano. It helps when you rate, subscribe, and review the podcast you enjoy. Thank you for your support.